The roar of the helicopter blades sliced through the morning air. Below, the city pulsed with millions of lives, each one locked in their own battle with time. I pressed my forehead against the cold glass, watching a billionaire's empire crumble in real time. Not because of market crashes or corporate espionage, but because of a single text message sent in anger. One impulsive moment, 3 seconds of lost control, and 15 years of empire building vanished like smoke. I should know. I was his head of communications, watching him destroy everything because he couldn't master the simplest yet most elusive skill in human existence, the power to say, not now. We live in a world where fortunes are made and lost in the space between impulse and action, where marriages crumble because someone couldn't wait before hitting send, where health deteriorates because we can't pause before reaching for that second slice, where dreams die because we can't resist the urgent to protect the important. But this isn't another cautionary tale about self-control. This is a revolution in understanding the 3 most powerful words you'll ever learn. Not now. Words that saved my own career when I found myself standing in that same billionaire's office 5 years earlier, staring at a contract that promised everything I thought I wanted and discovered something far more valuable instead. What I learned in that office, what I watched my boss fail to grasp from that helicopter, and what I'm about to share with you will transform how you view the art of self-mastery forever. Picture the ancient samurai warrior, sword in hand, muscles tense, ready to strike. What made them legendary wasn't their ability to fight, it was their ability to wait, to stand perfectly still while their opponent's patience crumbled, to hold their position until the perfect moment arrived. This is the essence of self-control, a force so powerful it transcends time and culture. But here's what fascinates me. Science has revealed that willpower isn't some mystical force. It's a biological mechanism as real as your biceps. When neuroscientists peek inside the brains of people exercising self-control, they see something remarkable. The prefrontal cortex, that sophisticated part of your brain right behind your forehead, lights up like a city at night. It's literally burning energy, just like a muscle during a workout. This discovery revolutionizes everything we thought we knew about self-discipline. Just as you can't expect to walk into a gym and deadlift 300 pounds without training, you can't expect to master impulse control without understanding its nature. Every time you resist an urge, every time you say not now to an immediate pleasure, you're not just making a choice, you're literally strengthening neural pathways in your brain. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think self-control is about deprivation, about saying no to everything they want. They imagine a life of endless resistance, of constant battle against desire. This misconception has probably done more damage to human potential than any other single idea. The truth? Self-control is about timing, not denial. It's about understanding that every impulse carries 3 distinct elements: the trigger, the behavior, and the reward. Master this trinity and you master your life. And let me share something that changed my perspective forever. During my research, I came across a study that followed children for over 4 decades. The famous marshmallow experiment, you might think. But this was different. This study revealed something even more profound. People with high self-control actually experience more pleasure in their lives, not less. They don't just achieve more, they enjoy more. Why? Because they understand something crucial. Delayed gratification isn't about never getting what you want. It's about getting what you want most instead of what you want now. They've learned to distinguish between the spark of temporary pleasure and the sustained glow of lasting satisfaction. Think about the last time you gave in to an impulse. Maybe it was checking your phone during an important conversation, or breaking your diet for a moment of sweetness, or making an impulsive purchase that you later regretted. In that moment, your brain was engaged in a complex dance between your immediate desires and your long-term goals. Understanding this dance, this internal choreography of choice, is the first step toward mastering it. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of self-control is its ripple effect. When you strengthen your ability to delay gratification in one area of your life, it mysteriously enhances your self-control in completely unrelated areas. It's as if self-discipline is a universal muscle, growing stronger with each conscious choice, each deliberate pause, each powerful "not now." Let me take you into the heart of Silicon Valley, where I recently consulted for a tech company that spent millions designing their app to hijack your brain's reward system. Their success metric, something they call time to dopamine, how quickly they could get users to experience that little hit of pleasure that keeps them coming back. Not daily engagement, not user satisfaction, but speed of gratification. This isn't just happening in tech. Our entire society has been rewired for instant rewards. Fast food chains have reduced their service times by 22% in the last decade. Dating apps promise love with a swipe. Streaming services autoplay the next episode before you can even consider stopping. We're living in what I call the now economy, where waiting has become almost obsolete. But here's the devastating truth. This addiction to immediacy is silently eroding our potential. Every time we surrender to instant gratification, we're not just making a choice in the moment, we're literally rewiring our brains to be less capable of achieving long-term success. Consider this. Studies show that people check their phones on average 96 times per day. That's 96 moments where we choose immediate distraction over focused attention. If each check takes just 30 seconds, we're losing 48 minutes daily to fragmented attention. But the real cost isn't the time. It's the degradation of our ability to sustain deep work, to pursue meaningful goals, to build lasting relationships. I recently worked with a talented writer who couldn't finish her novel because she'd lost the ability to work for more than 15 minutes without checking social media. Her creativity, her potential masterpiece, was being sacrificed on the altar of instant gratification. The tragedy wasn't just her unwritten book. It was the countless similar stories playing out across every profession, every aspiration, every dream. The most insidious aspect of instant gratification is how it masks its true cost. That quick dopamine hit feels like a reward, but it's actually a tax on your future success. Every time you choose the immediate over the important, you're not just postponing your goals, you're making them harder to achieve. Think of it this way. Instant gratification is like taking a loan from your future self, but the interest rate is astronomical. The momentary pleasure you get now must be paid back with compound interest in the form of decreased willpower, fragmented focus, and diminished capacity for deep work. A master chef once told me something profound while I watched him turn down a $1 million franchise deal. He said, "The difference between a good meal and an extraordinary one isn't in adding ingredients, it's in knowing when to stop adding them." This wisdom extends far beyond the kitchen. It strikes at the heart of what I call the not now philosophy. Not now isn't a simple rejection. It's a sophisticated tool for life architecture. When you say no to something, you close a door. But when you say not now, you're designing your future with strategic precision. You're not denying yourself. You're empowering yourself with the gift of timing. Let me share a turning point from my own journey. 10 years ago, I sat across from my mentor in a dimly lit restaurant. I was burning with ambition, juggling 3 business ventures, chasing every opportunity. He listened patiently to my frenzied plans, then asked one question that stopped me cold. If everything you're pursuing right now succeeded, would you even want that life? That question revealed the crucial distinction between no and not now. Saying no comes from a place of rejection or fear. Saying not now comes from a place of strategic wisdom and self-awareness. It's the difference between closing a door and choosing which door to walk through first. Consider the psychology behind this approach. When you tell yourself no, your brain registers deprivation, triggering resistance. But not now activates different neural pathways. It satisfies your brain's need for possibility while engaging your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for strategic thinking and future planning. I've seen this philosophy transform lives across industries and cultures. A young athlete who understood that not now to professional contracts meant yes to proper development. A tech entrepreneur who realized that not now to investors meant yes to perfecting her product. A parent who discovered that not now to career advancement meant yes to irreplaceable moments with growing children. But here's the most powerful aspect of this philosophy. It transforms procrastination from an enemy into an ally. Most people think of procrastination as postponing what they should do. The not now philosophy is about postponing what you could do to ensure you do what you must do. Think of it like a master chess player. The power isn't in the moves they make. It's in the moves they choose not to make right now. They understand that timing is everything, that sometimes the winning strategy is to build tension, to wait, to let the game develop before striking. This philosophy also introduces what I call the strategic pause protocol. It's a mental framework that asks 3 essential questions before any significant decision. 1, what am I saying yes to by saying not now to this? 2, is this the optimal sequence for my goals? 3, what will I gain by waiting that I would lose by acting now? These questions transform impulse control from a battle of willpower into a strategic advantage. They shift your focus from what you're postponing to what you're prioritizing. This subtle but crucial shift makes self-control feel less like deprivation and more like empowerment. The true mastery of not now comes when you begin to see it not as a delay tactic, but as a timing strategy. Every not now decision creates space for growth, space for preparation, space for opportunity. In a world obsessed with immediate action, understanding the power of strategic waiting might be your greatest competitive advantage. Remember, not now isn't about procrastination, it's about precision. It's not about avoiding, it's about aligning. And most importantly, it's not about missing opportunities, it's about mastering them. Let me share a story that fundamentally changed how I understand self-control. In the mountains of Japan, there's a sushi master who spends 5 years teaching apprentices before they're allowed to make a single piece of sushi for a customer. The first year is devoted entirely to awareness, learning to feel the texture of fish, understand the subtle changes in temperature, recognize the perfect ripeness of ingredients. This reveals a profound truth about mastery. It begins with awareness. This brings us to our first pillar, awareness. Think of your mind as a sophisticated radar system. Most people operate with their radar turned off, reacting to impulses without understanding them. True self-control begins when you turn that radar on. You start noticing the subtle triggers that precede your actions, the slight anxiety before checking your phone, the emotional state that leads to overeating, the social pressure that drives impulsive decisions. I worked with a CEO who would make rash decisions whenever he felt challenged in meetings. By developing awareness, he learned to recognize the physical sensations that preceded these moments. A tightness in his chest, a slight increase in body temperature. This awareness created a crucial gap between stimulus and response, allowing him to choose his reactions rather than being controlled by them. The second pillar is vision. Imagine trying to resist a chocolate cake without having a compelling reason why. Now imagine resisting it because you can clearly see yourself achieving a significant fitness goal that matters deeply to you. The difference is vision. Without a compelling vision of your future self, self-control becomes mere self-denial. A vision isn't just a goal, it's a vivid emotional connection to your future. I know an artist who transformed her procrastination by creating a detailed visualization of her future studio, complete with the smell of paint and the feel of morning light streaming through the windows. Her daily choices became about moving toward that vision rather than away from temptation. Strategy, our third pillar, is where awareness and vision become actionable. Think of strategy as the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It's not enough to know your triggers, awareness, or your destination, vision. You need a tactical approach to navigate between them. This is where implementation intentions come in. Specific plans that follow the format, when X happens, I will do Y. A student I worked with struggled with social media distraction. Instead of a vague goal to use social media less, she created specific strategies. When I sit down to study, my phone goes in another room. When I feel the urge to check it, I'll take 3 deep breaths and restate my study goal. The fourth pillar, practice, is where most self-improvement attempts fail. People treat self-control like an on-off switch rather than a skill to be developed. Consider how a pianist masters a complex piece, not by playing it perfectly from the start, but through deliberate progressive practice. I developed what I call the Progressive Challenge Protocol. Start with small, winnable challenges, perhaps delaying checking your phone for just 5 minutes. As you succeed, gradually increase the difficulty. Each small victory strengthens your self-control muscle and builds confidence for bigger challenges. Finally, we have recovery, perhaps the most overlooked pillar of self-control. Willpower is like a muscle, not just in that it can be strengthened, but also in that it requires rest and recovery. The successful practice of self-control isn't about maintaining perfect discipline. It's about knowing how to bounce back from setbacks. I worked with an Olympic athlete who taught me a profound lesson about recovery. After every intensive training session, she had a specific recovery routine. Similarly, after any significant test of willpower, resisting temptation, maintaining focus during a challenging project, or navigating emotional stress, you need a recovery strategy. This means building what I call resilience rituals, specific practices that help you recharge your willpower battery. These might include meditation, nature walks, creative activities, or any practice that helps you return to your center. The key is making these rituals as non-negotiable as the self-control challenges themselves. These 5 pillars work in concert, creating a dynamic system of self-mastery. Like a master chess player who thinks several moves ahead, you learn to see how awareness feeds into vision, how vision informs strategy, how strategy requires practice, and how recovery makes sustained progress possible. Remember, self-control isn't about becoming a different person. It's about becoming more fully yourself. It's about having the tools to choose your actions rather than being driven by impulse. When these 5 pillars become part of your daily life, you don't just master self-control. You master yourself. Dawn breaks over the city skyline. This isn't just the start of another day. It's your daily opportunity to practice the art of strategic waiting. Let me share with you the practical framework I've developed after studying hundreds of high achievers who've mastered self-control. First, let's talk about your morning routine, but not in the way you might expect. Most people rush to build elaborate morning rituals, but they miss the most crucial element, the power of the first decision. That initial choice you make when you open your eyes sets the tone for your entire day's self-control muscle. And here's what I call the first hour protocol. When you wake up, resist the immediate urge to check your phone. Instead, take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself, what's the one thing I need to master today? This isn't about productivity, it's about training your brain to override its first impulse. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways before your feet hit the floor. Throughout your day, implement what I call decision points analysis. Imagine your day as a series of crossroads, each one a moment where you can either react automatically or respond strategically. A high-powered executive I worked with used a simple but effective system. She wore a distinctive ring on her right hand. Every time she noticed the ring, she'd pause and ask, "Is what I'm about to do aligned with my highest priorities?" Energy management becomes crucial here. Think of your willpower like a battery with limited charge. The key isn't to resist every temptation, it's to strategically choose which battles to fight. I teach my clients the energy allocation matrix. Divide your day into 3 zones. Green, high energy, tackle your most challenging self-control tasks. Yellow, moderate energy, maintain steady discipline. And red, low energy, minimize decisions and temptations. Technology boundaries are non-negotiable in today's world. Install apps that track your usage patterns. But here's the twist. Don't just track time spent, track your energy levels after using different applications. One entrepreneur discovered that specific apps weren't just time wasters, they were energy vampires that drained his willpower for hours afterward. Create what I call success triggers, environmental cues that automatically activate your self-control. Place a glass of water by your bed to trigger your morning routine. Set your workout clothes out the night before. These aren't just habits, they're physical anchors for your willpower. The social support system is your safety net, but with a strategic twist. Instead of just finding accountability partners, create what I call a mastery circle. These are 3 people, one ahead of you in the self-control journey, one at your level, and one you're mentoring. This creates a dynamic learning environment where you're simultaneously growing and teaching. Remember the chef from earlier? He taught me an invaluable lesson about implementation. The secret isn't in knowing what to do, it's in knowing when to do it. Your implementation strategy should follow the same principle. Don't try to change everything at once. Instead, use what I call progressive implementation cycles. Start with one area of your life, perhaps your morning routine. Master it for 21 days. Then, while maintaining that mastery, add another area. This creates a compound effect where each new implementation builds on the foundation of the previous one. Your self-control muscle grows stronger with each cycle, making the next implementation easier.
The key to successful implementation isn't perfection, it's progression. Each day, focus on being just 1% better at saying not now to the things that don't serve your highest purpose. This isn't about dramatic transformation. It's about consistent strategic growth in your ability to choose the important over the urgent, the meaningful over the momentary. The clock struck midnight in Singapore when I received the call that changed my perspective on transformation forever. A CEO renowned for turning failing companies into industry leaders shared his secret. Everyone focuses on the 21 days to form a habit, but they miss the crucial point. It's not about the days, it's about the moments between the days. Let's decode this transformation process, starting with what I call the momentum map. Imagine you're building a spaceship. The most energy is required at launch, breaking through the atmosphere. Similarly, the first 3 days of any transformation demand extraordinary focus. During these crucial 72 hours, you're not just changing habits, you're rewiring neural pathways.
Day 1, 3, the launch phase. Here's where most people falter because they don't understand the biochemistry of change. Your brain will fight back with everything it has. You'll feel uncomfortable, irritable, maybe even physically unsettled. This isn't weakness, it's your neurochemistry recalibrating. Each time you say, not now during these days, you're literally forging new neural connections. Days 4, 10, the navigation phase. This is where subtle tracking becomes crucial. Don't just monitor what you do, monitor when you do it. I developed the peak performance timeline after studying thousands of successful transformations. Track your decisions against your energy levels, emotional states, and external pressures. Patterns will emerge that reveal your optimal transformation windows. Days 11, 21, the orbit phase. Now we enter what neuroscientists call the consolidation period. Your new patterns of self-control are becoming baseline behaviors. But here's the crucial insight. Celebration becomes as important as discipline. Every successful not now moment deserves recognition, not just the big wins, especially the small ones. I teach my clients the micro-victory protocol. At the end of each day, identify 3 moments where you exercise self-control, no matter how small. Write them down. This isn't just positive thinking, it's strategic reinforcement of neural pathways. You're literally programming your brain to associate self-control with reward. But transformation isn't linear. You'll face what I call resistance points, moments where old patterns surge back with surprising force. This is normal. In fact, it's necessary. Think of it like muscle growth. The fiber needs to tear before it can rebuild stronger. The key is having what I call a resilience ritual, ready before these moments hit. Mine is simple. I keep a small stone in my pocket. When I feel my resolve weakening, I hold it, feeling its weight, its texture. This physical anchor reminds me of my commitment to transformation. It's not about the stone, it's about the meaning I've attached to it. Remember, transformation isn't about reaching a destination, it's about becoming a different traveler. Each day of this process isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become. The person who masters self-control doesn't just make better decisions, they make decisions better. By day 21, you won't just have new habits, you'll have a new relationship with time itself.
You'll understand that every not now is actually a yes to your highest potential. Take your right hand and make a fist. In that simple action lies the essence of what we've explored today. Your fingers curling inward represent the gathering of your desires, your impulses, your immediate wants. But it's the pause before you release that moment of perfect tension that holds the power of transformation. I've shared with you the science behind self-control, the hidden costs of instant gratification, the philosophy of not now, the 5 pillars of mastery, and the practical steps for implementation. But knowledge without action is like a car without fuel, impressive to look at, but ultimately useless. So let me ask you, what's the one impulse that's holding you back right now? Maybe it's the constant need to check your phone, destroying your deep work. Perhaps it's the immediate emotional reactions damaging your relationships. Or it could be the quick fix decisions undermining your long-term success. Now imagine yourself 3 months from now having mastered that impulse. See yourself moving through your day with a new sense of power, your choices aligned with your highest goals. Feel the confidence that comes from knowing you're no longer at the mercy of immediate gratification. This isn't just about self-control, it's about self-creation. Every time you say not now to a lower impulse, you're saying yes to a higher possibility. You're not just managing your behavior, you're designing your destiny. The journey begins with your next decision. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when circumstances are perfect. Your transformation starts in the next moment of choice. And that moment is always now. So uncurl that fist, slowly, deliberately. Let each finger represent a pillar of self-control we've discussed. As your hand opens, see it reaching toward your highest potential. Because that's what mastering self-control really means. Opening yourself to possibilities that instant gratification could never provide.